Welcome back to the channel. If you watched my bonus video from the heart a couple weeks ago, you know that today is roof day. You also know that I'm worried about it. I don't really know what I'm doing. So what I'm going to do today with today's video is I'm probably not going to show you the process because it's probably going to be a whole bunch of let's see if this works and it doesn't, let's see if this works and it doesn't. So nobody probably wants to see faces that look a certain way, probably like faces like this. So instead, I'm probably going to show you a couple steps that I know that I'm going to do it a certain way, and then show you what I've done when I actually figure out each phase. The whole roof project itself has about 6 or 8 different steps. I have to build the outside wall. Well, first of all, I have to lay down my double top plate. Then I have to build those 2 outside walls, which are actually 4 outside walls because they're 4 separate pieces. I have to run my ridge beam. Then I have to do rafters. Then I have to do, I guess they're called pearl. I don't know what they're called. Whatever the long ones are that the roof actually nails to. That all stuff has to get done before I even put the roof on. So all of that needs to be done. There's a whole lot of math that is involved with that. I don't know any of my angles because I only kind of know how tall I want the roof to be. So I'll show you the process as we go. I probably just won't show you the figuring out process. I'll show you the actual construction process. So time to get a ladder and get out in the woods. So I have installed the top plates all the way around, including a hangover right there for a drip edge on the back, and the cantilever on the front that'll go on the front porch. The next thing to figure out is the angled peak of my roof. So we're going to need to make 2 triangles on each side with a brace in the middle to hold our ridge pole. Let me show you that math. Remember our mock-up wall? We have a bottom plate and a top plate and studs going between. When you're doing a peak, you have to do the same thing. It's just going to look a lot different. You still have a bottom plate, but then this angle becomes your top plate. And yes, that means going over top there. So what we're going to do is put this together. It's just sitting here. I don't know how the wind hasn't blown it over, but we're actually going to use screws instead of nails. Just because I'm afraid that beating on this with a hammer would make it just fall and probably hit me in the head. I have already cut my studs in between here, remaining at 16 on center. So let's put her together. There we go. Now I gotta make 3 more.
Through the miracles of Hollywood magic, 1 wall becomes 4. And also a trip to Ace Hardware because I ran out of screws.
All right, our triangles are out in the woods and I have 2 of them installed. Let me show you. The problem is, you see the little air gap right there? They, for some reason, I think it's because of the cut and screwing them together, they kind of got out of square a little bit. I squared them up as I did them, but even the ones I haven't put up yet, let me show you. So, touching there, but at the bottom, we got about an inch gap. So, what I'm gonna do is what I did up there. I guess there's some good news and some bad news. Is that I made my triangles about a ½ inch too short on each side, which means I have an inch to play with. Unfortunately, I would like that center to be tight, because if you can see at the very top there, that gap, that's where my ridgepole is going to go. So I am going to try to rack these, otherwise I'm just going to screw them in there. It still fits, so that's okay. It's actually stronger than it probably needs to be, but still would like it to be better than it is. So a little disappointed, but I wanted to share with you my failures as well as successes. So there we go. I'm gonna get this other side up now. that's a ridgepole. That thing was a pain in the butt. Before I move on to installing the rafters, I want to swing back to something I mentioned earlier in this video and actually other videos, and that's the pitch, and that I didn't know how to figure out the pitch. The pitch of the roof is the angle from your peak to the outside of your house. So a normal pitch is like this. A steep pitch would be like this. You get the idea. I had a number in mind that I wanted to do because we're thinking about putting a loft in the back side of the cabin. But when I got out here, I realized that I only own one ladder. I didn't realize that I only owned one ladder, but I only own one ladder. What I realized was that I could only reach up so far standing on the highest point of the ladder. And so what I did is I set the ladder up, I reached my hand all the way up, and then I measured from the top of my hand, because I'm going to need to be drilling down into the roof. I measured from my hand down to the top of our walls and got my number. And it just so happened to be right around 4 feet. So the triangle walls, since we have 8-foot walls, half of that is 4 feet. If I do 4 feet by 4 feet, that pitch becomes a perfect 45-degree angle. Great, that was easy. The rafters are going to be a little bit different. Let me show you how that process works. We are only going to have minimal rafters. And the reason for that is because laying on the rafters are going to be horizontal purlins. I did find out that was the right word. And then our roof panel will be attached to those purlins. Since those are a polycarbonate, they're not very heavy, and so we're not going to put a lot of rafters up. We have rafters here for our end panel. We have one here. There'll be another one here, and then 2 more on the outside of that, and also one on the porch. But installing this, since it's so high, what we're ending up doing is I install one first. That way I'm able to screw into my ridgepole, and then I prep my next 2 screws so that when I get up there, since I don't have 3 hands, I'm able to screw right into that ridgepole. And then what we'll do is we will attach ties to our wall and to the rafter there so that they are secure and don't go anywhere. So let's get this other rafter on. One side of our purlins are done. So we have one here, we have one here, and we have one more there. They are 3 feet apart. We wanted to have a nice open window in the top of the cabin. The next one will be a nice open window for anyone in the loft as well. And then on the bottom of our joists, we will attach a smaller 2x2 right there. And if you're wondering what's going to go on those purlins, and you didn't watch our video where we did our price estimate of what we thought this was going to cost, first of all, go back and watch that video. Everything else we're doing will make much more sense. But for those folks who didn't and wonder what's going to go up there, let me show you. And for the rest of you who already know. So this panel, this is our roof. It is a hail resistant, it's called Sun Tough. It doesn't fade, anything like that, and it's perfectly clear. These ridges and valleys that go through here, that's what is screwed onto those purlins through some plastic brackets. So yeah, that's our roof. Pretty exciting stuff. Well, that's it for the day. I didn't get as much done as I would have liked to. Every step along this process took a little bit longer than I anticipated, as this entire cabin seems to have. Makes it a little bit harder being out in the woods. I had to cut all of those lumber, all that lumber, and do all those the figuring and everything up at the house where my electric was for my saw, building those things and then get them all back. All that takes time, and you know, in a perfect world, this whole thing would be done and the roof would be on. I was hoping to get it dried in. We got a pretty bad storm coming through, if you can hear the wind that keeps whipping through here. But still happy. I was really afraid of this step of the process, and I think I got it nailed down. The math I have figured out. The physical part of it is rough. Handling 16-foot lumber way up in the air, that's rough. That's hard. And so, but it's done. We got it, at least halfway done. Next weekend's another weekend. We'll get some more done then. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. By the time this video hits, I don't know if we'll be at my 100 subscriber goal, but help me get there. It'd be pretty awesome. Share this with my friends and family. And if you don't care about it, that's fine. I'll still be your friend. You just can't come party at the cabin with us. Anyway, that's it. Catch you on the flip side.